This is my Draw My Life. Um, yeah, so here we go. I was born in Denver, Colorado, which is in the very middle of the U.S. It's not very exciting, and there's really not a whole lot going on. Um, I have a mom who I love very, very much, a dad who maybe works a little bit too hard because he's never really around. Um, I have my oldest sister, Misty, who I love very much. She's married, 31, and expecting twins. Um, my other sister, Nadine, is 27 now. She's got a daughter who's a year old and a husband. Um, I'm in the middle. Nothing really special going on here. I've always had super, super long hair. My mom would never ever let me cut it. I really wasn't allowed to, which other people find funny. Um, my little sister is Coco. Uh, she's annoying, but I love her just the same. Uh, yeah. Misty had arms. Um, when I was growing up, my mom was really sick. She had MS, which made it really hard for her to walk sometimes, and she was actually in a wheelchair for a little while. Um, it was really hard because I was too young to understand what was wrong, and so I always wanted her to take me to places where my friends went, like Elitch's and amusement parks, and ride roller coasters like the other kids did with their parents, but my mom couldn't go out in the sun because her medicine would make her sick, so uh, we couldn't swim, we couldn't do anything, we just kind of stayed home all the time. It really stank. It was really hard because I didn't understand. Not only did she have that, but my mom also had a disease called fibromyalgia, which is where your nerves are messed up, and so everything, even the lightest touch, really hurts. And so for a long time, I wasn't allowed to hug my own mother when I was a little girl, which you can imagine how much that can suck when you need a hug. When I was little, we also moved a lot. I was born in Denver, and then we moved way far away to like the absolute middle of nowhere. We lived in a forest, had land. Then we had to move back because my mom got really sick, so we actually moved back to the same house. Then we managed to move somewhere in between that was really, really nice, but we ended up losing that house too. And so we moved a little ways away, just a few blocks, rented that house for a year, and now we're across the street from the other one, which is kind of nice because this was always my favorite street because all the neighbors are always outside and they're really nice. Um, when I lived in my first house for the second time, I was in the 5th grade, and I met a girl there named Rebecca, and she always was wearing pink and she was always very happy, and she liked art and so did I. So she and I became really good friends, and um, we're friends to this day, and she's very sweet and I love her to death. I could never draw, but she could, so she would draw things and I would color them. When I lived in the middle of nowhere, I didn't get along with the kids at school because I was a city girl and I was spoiled, and I admit to it, I was a brat, but they didn't like me. And on my first day, we went to go play a game where you find people with your eyes closed, and I got tagged and I couldn't find anyone, and when I opened my eyes, they were laughing at me on the other side of the playground, which that was the first day, so you can imagine how the rest of the time went. Um, when I got to middle school, Rebecca came to my middle school, and I got to see her for the first time in a really long time, and I was pretty much the same, but Rebecca changed a lot because a lot changed in her life, and she liked to wear black lipstick and, you know, listen to dark music, and she was a goth, and I thought it was cool because I just always found that interesting, and she was still a sweet girl, so I loved her to death. Um, when I also got to middle school, I met a guy named Doug, along with several others, but Doug and I started dating in middle school, and we had a very on and off relationship. He was British, and I liked that, but we were middle schoolers, so we broke up a lot, and um, we were on and off all the time. And I'd always run off with some other guy, but I always kept coming back to Doug. It just didn't happen for him and I always ran off to Doug again. I don't know why I kept going back, but so Doug and I managed to get back together, and we stayed together for 3 years into high school. We started high school together, and um, we dated until my junior year. And problem with Doug was he was as insecure as I was, and so he got mad at me a lot and yelled a lot. And I felt like a lot of the fights we had were my fault, and everything was my fault, even if it wasn't related to me. If he had a bad day because somebody else, it was my fault. And he was always yelling and angry, and I just didn't know how to handle it, and so I did bad things too. While I was with Doug, my freshman year, the summer in between freshman and sophomore year, he was being especially mean, and we took a break, and I met another guy who I thought was going to take me away from all the anger, and he was really sweet and was really nice, and I thought he was perfect. He was older than me, though, and I was 15, and he was a lot older than me, and I didn't know what to do, and as it turns out, he wasn't a good guy at all, and a lot of really, really bad things happened that made Doug look like a piece of cake, and he wasn't a nice guy, and he did a lot of really bad things to me that I, to this day, can't talk about. But he was not good at all, and so I was so scared after being with him. I was really scared of guys, and I got a lot of social anxiety issues, so I went back to the only thing I knew, which was Doug. And so even though I wasn't really happy there, I went back to him because I thought he was safe. The only time I'd ever been with somebody else, they really, messed me up, so that was the way to go. Sophomore year, now that Doug and, hold on, I have to get my thoughts together. Sophomore year was really rough because, a lot of people, what ended up happening was with that bad guy, I had to go to the police, and by that time so much time had passed that nobody believed me, and a lot of people called me a liar. It was really hard because I began to question what really happened, and I didn't quite know what was going on, but I guess in the end I did know what happened, even though I didn't want to talk about it, and a lot of time my story changed, and it was bad, and it was hard. It was really hard. The next summer, between sophomore and junior year, I went to California while Doug went to England, and our relationship wasn't going well, and while I was there, I met this super cute older guy, who was really sweet and a surfer, and he was like Doug's opposite, so I really liked him because he wasn't mean like Doug was, and we went surfing together, and one night he kissed me, and I felt so bad, because I was still with Doug, that I told Doug immediately afterwards, and I cried really hard because I hated hurting him even though he was so mean to me. And of course, Doug got really angry. Doug always gets angry, but this time he had the right to get angry because this other boy had kissed me, and I had kind of set myself up for it since I'd run away to California and I'd been hanging out with this guy, so I guess it was kind of my fault for letting it happen. But yeah, Doug wasn't happy, so that was our last final breakup, and it was really ugly. It did not go well. And a lot of people lost respect for me because of it, because technically I did cheat, and it's not something I'm proud of, but it happened nonetheless. So now I'm into my junior year of high school, and because Doug was so demanding all the time, I never got to make friends in freshman year like everybody else did, so it's kind of hard now. Everyone already has so many friends, and I kind of am just stuck in the middle, not knowing really what to do or how to talk to people, because I haven't really had a good time with people, you know. It's hard, but um, life always gets better, but eventually I came to meet, I met so many guys this year, and I dated a lot of people. I dated a buff swimmer guy who was really, really sweet, but he didn't care, you know. Um, you could tell, like, I was his first real girlfriend, and then I dated, a really tall guy, who asked me to homecoming, but I guess I was a bet that I found out about. And then the last guy I dated, he was younger than me, and he had a really big heart, but it just wasn't going to work out for us, which was really sad, because he was really nice, and I hated to hurt him the way I did. Now I'm dating a guy named Bryce. My friend introduced us over Skype. He was living in Idaho when we met, so he was really far away. And I ended up buying him a plane ticket to come live with me in Colorado. And it's just been really nice having him here, because he kind of keeps me grounded. He takes really, really good care of me, and I love him to death. But now, because he's in Colorado, we're facing real world problems, which, you know, for a 17-year-old girl and a 19-year-old boy, it's not easy to do. Like, finding him a home, somewhere to live, and trying to get him jobs and money and food, and making sure he's being taken care of. But I take really good care of him because I'm all he has. Due to family issues back home, he has nothing, and so he came here with nothing, but we're taking care of him, which is really nice, because he needs it. So, yeah, I'm really happy with him, life as well. I just want to make sure, you know, he turns out okay, because I asked a lot of him to come here, and I know it hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. I've also made a new friend. Her name's Kat, and she's super awesome, and I love her to death because she's so incredibly sweet and funny, and she gets me in a way that a lot of people don't. And she's fantastic to have around. She's Doug's ex too, which means she gets it. She knows how he is. Along with that, I'm still friends with Rebecca, even though she's not always, you know, around. She's got her own life rockin', which I respect, and I love her to death, and I hope she's doing better. I still have, Kat's just my other girlfriend. Yeah, I told you about her. She's awesome. The last girl I really have in my life right now is Daisha, and she's not always around because we don't see eye to eye anymore, but I still love her. And I just want to say thank you to all the people who are part of my life right now, because you've really made a difference, and you've really helped me through some hard times. And I know life's gonna get better. Yeah, so that's my life. Da da da!